Hello and welcome to Japanese from Zero. I'm George Trombley and we are now finally on Book 3, Course 3. If you have arrived at this video and not seen the almost 50 other videos that I've made up to this point, you might be a little bit lost because we are doing a series called Japanese from Zero video series. I mean, no, it's like totally a creative name. That's because we are going through books 1, 2, and 3. And today is the very first day that we are doing book 3. I'm very excited. And this is the very first time that we have a green background to match the color of the book. And when we are done with this, those of you that hang around will get to see purple. And then those of you that hang around even longer will get to see maybe pink. It was originally orange, but I think book 5 will be pink. Okay, today we're going to talk about time spans and costing time and money, which is this is actually a very big lesson. And as I went through it, I noticed that this current version of the book still has hours and minutes in it, but that got moved to the last update of book 2. So in book 2, we already covered hours and minutes, which if you remember was 1時間、2時間、3時間、1分、2分、3分, if you recall that. If you don't, please go back and watch the video where we did that, which was for lesson 12. I don't remember the actual number. Lesson 12 of book 2. And we do. Now, at this point, we should know every hiragana and every katakana in the entire Japanese language. And we start learning kanji, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, in this particular lesson, none of them are going to come up in this video, but they do start showing up in the actual lesson in the book. Now, we are going to need to know a couple new words. Now, there's truly a few new words, actually. There's truly going to be a new word in this video, a word that's not in the book, but I think should be in the book. Now, a lot of times what will happen is I'll say, we should have done this in the book, and then like the next lesson, it turns out to be there. So I haven't looked ahead. It's very possible that the word that I'm going to introduce is in the next lesson. But first, let's deal with what's in the lesson. There are 2 words in this lesson. I've added one in here, actually. It's dore gurai and dono gurai. And I think dono kurai is the new one. Now, sometimes you'll hear all 3 of these words. Now, in everyday Japan, these words are literally the same thing. If you do what a lot of people do, you will research this by typing in Google dore gurai and dono kurai and how is it different, and you will find very detailed explanations about what is different. But reality, Japanese people do not know the difference. If they do, it's because they're a Japanese teacher. Your everyday Japanese person is going to mix these up. They're going to say dore kurai, they're going to say dore gurai, they're going to say dono gurai, they're going to say dono kurai. And they all mean how long or how much. Okay. Now, why do I know that Japanese people mix these up? Because they literally do mix them up. And mix up isn't the right word. They're not wrong. In modern Japan, these are exactly the same thing. If you do your search in Japanese, you will find Japanese people asking, what are these words? Why are they different? Which one do I use? Because I don't know. Japanese people don't know. If they don't know, you don't have to know. You just have to know when you hear it that it's going to mean how much or how long. Okay? Now, here's the word that we don't actually know yet. It's not in this exact lesson. It is the verb to cost or to take. It does both. It's kakaru. Kakaru. Now, what kind of verb is kakaru? Based on our information, right? It ends in a ru, and all that we know that means is that it could be any of the types of verbs. So really, that's not going to help us out. We know that because it doesn't have an iru or an eru sound, that it's not, there's no possibility that it's going to be an iru-eru verb. We know that it's not suru or kuru, so there's no possibility of it being irregular. There's only really one other option that we know at this point, and it's a regular verb. And all that means is that the final hiragana, when you do your conjugation, it can go to, it gets changed. The final hiragana gets changed instead of dropped. Okay? So, kakaru becomes kakaranai, informal, not going to cost anything, or polite would be kakari, kakarimasen, kakarimasu. It will cost or it will take. So let's look at that. Here's another word. Another word that's actually not taught in the book, but it's a good word to know. Gakuhi. So gakuhi means school tuition or school expenses. Okay. I'm full of new words today. I think This book was written so long ago that honestly I would rewrite parts of it. I would split lessons up, I would add things, and these are just some of the small things that I think I wish I would have added. For example, I totally don't talk about Europe at all in this book. Like there's dollars and yen and everything's about America. So I apologize because I never thought the book was going to be sold outside of the classroom when I first wrote it. So euro. Euro is the money of Europe, right? The euro. Not Britain though. They use pounds. Hoteru. If I'm wrong, please just destroy me in the comments on that one. Hoteru. We might have done this, but I don't remember. Hoteru means hotel. And in this lesson, we talk about dai. Dai being added to some words. Not every word does it, but multiple words have dai added to it to mean the cost of something. For example, taxi dai, the cost of the taxi. Hoteru dai, the cost of the hotel. Now, other times, remember we had that gaku hi word? Hi will be added to words. Like gaku comes from the word school, right? Gaku hi, not gakko, not gakko hi. That wouldn't work like that. But it's the hi from a fee. So, for example, you might have kotsu hi. Kotsu hi means the cost of transportation. We're not doing that, but I just want to show you that these are things that would be attached to the word to give it a meaning, right? Okay. All right. So let's go through some sentences using what we know. Oh, it's kind of a shiny little 3 up there. Seriously, honestly, if you've come this far, congratulations. You guys learning Japanese, sometimes you get down and you think, oh, I'm not good, I'm not doing enough. But you have to realize you are so special to get to this point that it doesn't even matter that it's the books that I wrote. It could be any book series. If you get to the 3rd book in a book series, you're making progress, and it's really amazing because most people just say they want to study Japanese. You're actually learning Japanese. So let's go through some sentences. And I'm going to just randomly have doregurai or donogurai. And some people might say, well, this one is only for amounts, or this one's only for time, or this. No. They literally are interchanged all the time. So how would you say, before I show you, I just want to see if you can get it. Money, how much do you have? Money is the topic. How much money do you have? Remember, you have to say it. You have to say it, vocalize it, or else you're tricking yourself, you're cheating. Okay? How do you say money? Okane. Okane wa doregurai, donogurai, donokurai, dorekurai. All of them would work. Doregurai arimasu ka? I think I have a preference for doregurai. I think that's what I always end up saying. Doregurai. So, okane wa doregurai arimasu ka? Again, I want to point something out. I promise you, people will tell you have to use one over the other. They will almost always be people who have studied Japanese. Japanese people intermix these all the time. On Yahoo Japan, Chiebukuro has multiple people asking this question, and every time they all agree with that it's interchangeable. Okay? All right. So, okane wa doregurai arimasu ka? About how much money do you have? That's really what that means. It's not really about how much, but that's what it sounds like. It's how much. It's like almost very similar to ikura, but it wants like a guesstimate. So it is kind of a how much now that I hear myself say it. So about how much money do you have? Or how much money do you have? Because we could just say okane wa ikura arimasu ka? And by the way, you can even say ikura gurai arimasu ka? That would work too. Literally the exact same thing. Okay? So what if you want to say, I have $100. I have $100. 100ドルあります. You typically don't say 100ドルがあります. Remember, after a counter word, you normally don't have a particle. At least wan ga typically don't come there, okay? Unless you're saying like, I have a $100 bill. Okay? 100ドル札. Satsu is how you say bill. 100ドル札があります. You could even say, I have one $100 bill. 100ドル札が1枚あります. Remember, thin flat object. 1枚あります. But remember, after 1枚, there is no ga or wa. Okay? So I just say, I have about $100. So if someone asks you, If someone asks you, どれぐらいありますか? You don't have to answer with ぐらい in the answer. You can just say how much money you have, which is what we did. 100ドルあります. But what if you want to say, I have about $100? Well, we learned this a video or two back. 100ドルぐらいあります. 100ドルぐらいあります. Okay? You could even say, by the way, 100ドルぐらいです. Okay? All right. How would you ask? Now, we're going to use our new verb, Hikaru to cost, okay? Or to take time. Let's ask somebody, how much is tuition? How much does tuition cost? Or how much will it cost? It could be future or present tense, right? With this particular verb form. 学費はどれぐらいかかりますか? どのくらいかかりますか? Or いくらかかりますか? You don't have to, when you learn a new thing, you don't have to replace the thing you already know if it's similar enough. If I said 学費はいくらかかりますか? That just means I want an exact number. If I say どれぐらい or いくらぐらい or どのくらい, I want an amount. That's basically the amount, like about how much, right? So what if it cost 2 million yen? It will cost 2 million yen. Now you have to go back to a lesson or to a concept where we take the zeros and we trade our zeros for different things, right? So 2 million yen. How many zeros is that? Million equals 6, remember? Million equals 6. We can buy a man. We're left with 200. So to say 2 million, it's 200 man. Or you could have just remembered that 100 man means million and cheated a little. I feel like that's a cheat because later on when the numbers get bigger, it doesn't work as easily. But 200 man, by the way, I do that exact cheat. I literally have just remembered that 100 man is a million. But the problem is when you do the bigger numbers, like in English we'll say like, oh, it's 900 million. You end up wanting to say 900 man because in your mind, 100 man means million and 900, right? 900 million. The problem is that 100 and million is 8 zeros. And in Japanese, 8 zeros is oku. So 900 million is kyu oku. I know I lost a lot of you. Go back to the fourth counting lesson. That's part 4 of Japanese counting. Lesson B, I think, of course 1. All right, so 200万円かかります. It costs, that's what かかります means here, 2 million yen. All right? It doesn't cost much. Who said it doesn't cost much? I'm trying to review things with you. That's what I promise I'm not trying to hurt you. It doesn't cost much. If you remember back, this is course 2. あまりかかりません. Now, I always like to say あんまり, both are correct. あんまり, but I'm told that sounds a little bit country. I'm a little bit country. あんまりかかりません or あまりかかりません. All right, so let's say you went on a trip and you paid for all of the expenses and your friend's like, well, how much did hotel cost? I want to go ahead and... About how much was the hotel? How much did it cost? Now, there's a couple ways to do this. Let's look at it. ホテルはどのぐらいかかりましたか? That's very, very nice. ホテル代 would have also worked too. The cost of the hotel. Here we're saying, how much did the hotel cost? If I had said, ホテル代はどれぐらい、どのぐらい、いくらぐらいかかりましたか? Now I'm saying, about how much was the hotel expense? In this sentence, it wouldn't change the meaning, but you might hear ホテル代, and that's why it's introduced in this lesson. Okay? It cost about, informal, we're going to speak informal, it cost about 300 euro. It cost about 300 euro. Make sure it's informal. Make sure it's informal. 300ユーロぐらいかかりました. Okay? Oh, I didn't go informal. After I said it like 9 times. かかった. Okay, now, gonna change this a little bit. Let's change the sentence to say ホテルまで ホテルまで until the hotel どれぐらいかかりましたか何分ぐらいかかりましたかどれぐらいかかりましたか How long did it take? Right? How long did it take to the hotel? It's the same verb, okay? Or how long will it take? I'm sorry, I'm looking, I can already see the answer, so I know that the answer will be wrong. I have to say, かかりますか? How long more will it take? Okay? So let's say it will take 3 more, it's another 3 hours. It's 3 hours more. あと3時間ぐらいです. I could have also said, あと3時間ぐらいかかります. ホテルまではどれぐらいかかりますか? ホテルまではどれぐらいかかりますか? I don't have to have the は. ホテルまでどれぐらいかかりますか? So you can see, my point with that is to show you that it doesn't have to always be about money. It can also be about time. Okay? So, say you're planning a trip, you don't have a lot of money, and you need to know, informally, you're speaking to your friends informally, you want to say, the cost of the taxi, about how much is it going to be? About how much will it cost? The cost of the taxi. Not just taxi. The cost of the taxi. I think I heard someone say it. I think someone got it. タクシー代はどれぐらいかかり keep doing that. どれぐらいかかるの? タクシー代はどれぐらいかかるの? Now, if you're speaking really informal, you're probably here. タクシー代はどれぐらいかかるの? かかんの? See, if you, some people ask, like, what is the no? It's really just them speaking fast. かかるの becomes かかんの, かかんの, and then the ru turns into like an It happens. You know, the higher level we get in Japanese, the more I'm going to freely talk about these type of things. I'm not going to worry too much that you're not, when you're really, really new, I like to kind of hold back. So if you want to get notes, take like a little notepad. Sometimes I'm going to give you extra things in these videos that are not in the book. So the one that I'm talking about right now is kakanno, right? Wakanno, wakaru no? Watashi ga, ore ga yutta koto wakanno? So it's wakaru no, but they will kind of like slur it out. Wakanno. All right. So, タクシー代はどれぐらいかかるの? Well, the answer is going to be, it's up to the station. To the station, it's going to cost about 3,000 yen. To the station, it'll cost about 3,000 yen. Informal. Now this is as opposed to other places, okay? That's why it's going to be 駅までは, and they'll do this a lot. They'll put a wa after that まで because, well, up to the station, 3,000 円ぐらいかかるよ, okay? So remember that when that wa comes after another particle, whether it's ni wa or made wa or kara wa, it's as opposed to other things, okay? Other times, other places, or emphasizing a certain thing with that wa, okay? How would you say? Look at this sentence. タクシー代はどれぐらいかかるの? Let's remove the die now. The die isn't there. We're going to say タクシーはどれぐらいかかるの? Now that particular sentence, depending on the context, means how long will it take and how much will it cost? It's both. So if there was no die there, then we would know for sure. We wouldn't know for sure what they meant. The answer could be either one of these. 駅までは5分ぐらいかかるよ. Up to the station, it takes about 5 minutes. Okay? So, I really feel like this lesson was so big that I didn't add kakaru, but I assume at this point we've gone through the lesson, and this is bonus information for you. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm going to give you a new verb. We are learning patterns, right? We're learning patterns in this book series. And I want you to always keep the patterns inside you so that when you hear something new, you can just make a sentence. You can guess. We are, as human beings, amazing at pattern recognition. So I'm going to give you a new verb. The verb means to walk. Okay? And at the end of this statement, we're going to say, let's walk. Okay? Because taxis are expensive, let's walk. You're not even going to answer the question, how much is it going to cost? It's so expensive. You're just going to say, because taxis are expensive, Let's walk. タクシーは高いから歩きましょう。Now, it would never be 高いだから。It wouldn't be 高いだから。Later on, you'll hear something like 高いんだから, right? 高いんだから. But we're not doing that yet. That requires you to sound good in Japanese. When you say 高いんだから, you've got to be pretty good in Japanese to pull that off. So I wouldn't recommend that you do it yet. Just say 高いから. 高いから. Okay? Which is completely good Japanese. タクシーは高いから歩きましょう. Now, I've realized that this video is already 18 minutes. I have a lot more slides. We're going to split it up. I'm going to do a part 2 of this. We're going to do time spans part 2 coming up right after this. See you then. Bye.